Hey, good afternoon, everybody. This is Sports Fanatic News. I'm Joe Boric, and this is going to be a reaction to the by and large good National Series, albeit wet on the final day. I had tickets for that game, but we exchanged it, and that's because they had a great exchange in order to get a new game for all the confusion yesterday with the rain delay. Got this really cool Jimmy Rollins shirt where he's holding it up, going like this, his signature move. On the Rollins Day, that was a fantastic ceremony, a game we should have won to sweep the series, but the pen blew it, and we'll get more into that later. And we'll also have our stars of the first month in pitching, as well as obviously within the offense. So Corey Seidman tweeted out yesterday, the Phillies starting pitchers have a 3.02 ERA over their last 17 games, which is most of the month if you really think about it. So our starting pitching hasn't been the problem. There's only been a couple games they've looked off. So what we really need to examine is you have to give up a compensation pick for signing Craig Kimbrell until after the draft. But at this point, with how smart we all know, Glenn Talk's been a very smart GM, and I'm going to give him a lot of credit because he brought in Kutch. Kutch always heats up as the weather goes, so don't worry about his batting average right now. He'll get it, and he'll get it good. And he's getting on base still, which is great. We got Harper, and like people said on the radio, if you're booing him this early, I understand you might be booing the situation more than the player. That's at least understandable. You don't boo the player this early though, because historically it says in his career he'll get going in the first couple of weeks, go into a little lull, and then get going again. And he had a good RBIs in the past couple days, excuse me. And what we really need to focus on is we were able to win 4-2 on Friday behind a save by Hector Neris. Dominguez pitched better in that game, allowing one run. I am not worried about Dominguez just because of his stuff. I think he will figure it out. And also, just like we did with Edubre Ramos, we have the option to send the bull down in order to figure it out and then call him back up. And I think that's an option they will use if that keeps happening. Jared Eichhoff pitched through 5. He had 87 pitches. I thought he might have been able to go out there for the 6 to give us a little something extra. Dominguez came in and struck out 2, but gave up that homer. Then we had Morgan pitch great, Neshek and Neris pitch great in that game against the win. So in that game, our bullpen did very well other than one home run given up. Nish is looking to get back on track. He's been talking about in post-game how he's been a little off, and he's looking to get back to the dominant Pat Neshek we know he can be. Our bullpen has actually also been hurt by the fact that we know Tommy Hunter wasn't a world beater out there last year, but he's a competitive, reliable veteran. We haven't had him. David Robertson's been out, of course. So that has hurt us. So when that comes back, which Hunter would be probably second half of the season at earliest because of his injury, but Robertson shortly, that will help us. But how much? Because we have guys like Nicasio and Alvarez that keep struggling. And then, of course, on Saturday, Morgan had his first struggles. So Morgan is going to be what I'm going to start to do for games. The first excuse me of the year, which means you get a couple starts where if you're just dominating or out of the bullpen, that if you have one bad outing, I'm going to give that an excuse me and bounce back. So we, of course, should have won Saturday's game. I mean, we were balling out. We scored 8 runs. We went up 8-5 in that one period, and then we blew it because of the bullpen. I mean, Saturday, we put Nicasio in. Nicasio still hasn't been able to figure it out yet. He's still struggling up and down. And we look for somebody with a track record like that to get going because that's why you give them more opportunity, but there's only so much you can do. Nish did not do well in that game. He gave up 2. And then Morgan came in and gave up 2, but that's his first start. He did poorly in. And then, of course, we had Jose Alvarez pitch only to one batter, who he's been struggling, and then Edubre Ramos, who's also been struggling. So that game was due to the bullpen, and so has other games that I've been at this year and have watched. So I think at some point you have to decide, is it worth waiting for the compensation pick to leave to get a guy like Craig Kimbrell if you can get him for 2 years for something that might be worth it? Because here's the thing. Say Kimbrell comes in and he can't close right away because he has to figure it out. He has to get back to getting the feel for everything in the minors. Hector's actually been doing a good job closing. He's got into some tough situations, but he's either 4 for 4 or 5 for 5. I don't remember exactly. So he has been doing a great job there. so you can continue to use him until you feel Kimbrel can be in, and then if not, you have Hector as a great 8th inning guy who's been good this year, as well as Morgan against lefties as a good 8th inning guy in order to help your guys. Yesterday was great for the bullpen because we were able to use Eflin, who just dealt through 7 innings, and then we were able to use De Los Santos, who's a young pitcher who has good stuff, was stretched out, had starting had starting potential in the minors and credibility as a starter he earned from the minors, but we just don't need him in that position. If he can get going and really do well out of the pen as a swingman, that would be fantastic for the Phillies. Zach Eflin, though, let me tell you, this dude's been dealing this year. He's been very good. He has 42 innings pitched already, a 3 ERA, and 31 strikeouts. And he's really impressing this year, and he is one of our stars of the month as a starting pitcher. He's been very impressive and has just kept going out there. He's only had a couple bad starts, bounced back handsomely in that complete game that I was at. And I must say, this is coming in high praise because I've watched Nola pitch a lot in recent years. That's one of the best outings I've seen in a very long time. Because Nola deals, but he hasn't got to that complete game yet. And he's pitched some great 7, 8 inning fantastic feats last season. But Eflin was one of the best starts I've seen from a long time to follow up Ben Lively, of all people, as the last complete game for the Phillies. So that was a fantastic game yesterday. We also got a lucky run in the first, but hey, put the ball in play, hit it hard, and things happen. Then Kurt Suzuki, of course, rocked another one. Eflin got that bunt single, again put the ball in play, see what happens. Gene Segura grounded out, and we scored. And then, of course, Harper singled and got his RBI. And then Hoskins doubled, and Hoskins is really killing it. He's another star of the month from the offensive side. Now, because of one bad outing, I'm not taking this guy out of the stars of the month. Adam Morgan is 100% a star of the month from the pitching side out of the bullpen. He's been dealing. And then a honorable mention for the star of the month, or the 4-star, however, or the 4-star, however you want to rank it, since I have somebody else in mind to put in there, would be Hector Neris, because he's been coming out and doing well and doing his thing. Another star of the month obviously has to be Gene Segura. I realize he was injured, but when he's in the lineup, he just comes back in and hits. Other than yesterday, but he got in the RBI, and you can give somebody a game when they're hitting 340 to not get one. So I think we have decisions to make to wrap up this video. We have to decide if we want to keep moving around people in the bullpen to see what we can get out of them, and if certain guys just don't have as much as they used to, or they're not pitching well for whatever reason, have to be sent down. But you can't do that with Nicasios and Alvarez. I don't think they have options. So that has to come up in a discussion from within, and we have to come up with a discussion from within if we think it makes more sense to sign Kimbrel sooner if we're actually interested in him, rather than later, and just give up that draft pick, since we do have a solid minor leagues. Every article you read, everything you watch through the MLB minor league app, or you read, that's a good app to check out if you're interested in baseball and the minors. And we have good guys in the minors. We even have Trey Bates, so could also go out and make an earlier trade for a reliever. I know we're interested in Mike Minor. He's a good starter to throw in there as a lefty. So there's decisions to be made. Granted, our rotation, again, hasn't been the problem so far. It's been our bullpen, and nobody would have guessed that at this point. So this has been a reaction video. Let's go Phillies. Let's go beat those Cardinals in the first game tonight, which is a pitching matchup between Vinny Velo, who's been doing good this year other than last start, and Mike Michaelis, who is pitching solid this year, but not fantastic. So try to jump on him and try to get going at our 8:05 start tonight. Let's hear it for the Phillies. Let's go.